Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest now is Rick Ferrante. He's the president of Home Care Services, Santa Clarita. Welcome, young man. How are you?
Thank you very much. Good to see you both again.
Terrific. And what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, we're talking about sort of this topic that I've been talking about for quite a while and very passionate about. I'm the chair of the Walk to End Alzheimer's here, and it's a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association on October 8th at Bridgeport Park. And I'm also the chair of the Santa Clarita Valley Alzheimer's Awareness Project. And effectively what this is anything and everything related to the disease, the people who are suffering from it, as well as the families and caregivers, etc., the people that are just affected by it, their families. So the Alzheimer's Awareness Project is both the fundraising arm, like the walk, and that's basically to raise funds for programs and so on, as well as research to find a cure. And in addition to that is also support groups, programs, various programs, advocacy, so that there is a element of this to have funding for those research that are with our local leaders and so on, and then just general education and events. And that's, I would like to kind of go through a little bit the basics in terms of the disease and so on as well, but these are the things that we're doing to fight it, to support people with it, etc. So this is more than just telling us about what's going on. You can help. Anybody can help and help volunteer, be part of these committees, be part of the answer, guys. It's not about, just this is bad, which it is, and it's a disease that's doing nothing but growing. Mm-hmm. But there's also, what are we going to do about this? And let's get together, let's locally, and this is all local stuff. It's Santa Clarita. It's not just California. It's not just LA. Santa Clarita, what are we locally doing this as individuals, businesses, the families themselves, anybody that can get behind this and try to support the people that are affected and to find a cure.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And it's probably, you would not probably be able to answer it, but so many groups that are nonprofit and raise money for certain things or certain causes, so much of the money goes to pay administration. Mm-hmm. Very little of it comes back to the community and to the people who really need the help. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest gripe with so many of these organizations. And I think you can find lists of those all over the internet.
Absolutely.
And I'm wondering how much of what we earn here, volunteer dollars, goes back to paying administrative costs rather than really searching for a cure.
80 to 85% of every dollar goes into everything that's not related to administrative costs.
And that statistic has to be presented by your organization so that the public sees it. So
right.
Absolutely.
It's right now not misrepresented. That's the number.
ALZ.org is the website, and people need to go out there. And Barbara, that is an absolutely legitimate question. And I think it needs to be asked on anything that somebody does for any cause, right?
Absolutely, and I do.
Exactly. No,
all the time.
Obviously. And it is critically important to the extent that as an organization, national, this is the Alzheimer's Association, so it's the National Association, that they need to be presenting it, promoting what they're doing, the percentages like that, rather than anything hiding it. It should be a mark or a badge of honor, and it is. That is a very high percentage compared to other organizations. Now, obviously, any organization has to pay staff. I mean, it's just the way it is. And for things like fundraisers, you have to pay, put tents up and put tables up and hire emergency first responder, all this stuff. You have to do that in order to put events on and have organizational structures and the whole thing. But you're spot on in the fact that there is a big difference between doing what's necessary and then just doing it to earn money and just, to be a profit as opposed to what you should be as a nonprofit. And so nobody out there, if somebody tells you it's 100%, that's wrong too. You can't be that and be a real organization.
No.
They have to vet. One of the things they do, Barbara, with the money, that administration, is to vet the appropriate places to fund grants for research. So you really do want to have professional people there that are finding the places to put the money so that they're appropriate. You need to have skilled and quality people to do that. Otherwise, you're just throwing money right at whatever. So it's kind of a down the line effect to say that there does need to be some element of professional people there that are looking at where they're going to put the money to, what universities, what foundations and that kind of thing.
That are going to be doing the research.
Right. So
Absolutely.
You do have to have some. So anybody that says 100%, that's also almost wrong as well. But you can't be somebody that's taking 20 cents of every dollar, right, and funding your cause, and then having 80 cents of every dollar not. So very much agree with that.
Yes, and it's interesting. Alzheimer's, dementia, it's almost getting out of control.
It affects everybody.
The statistics are just staggering. It's sixth leading cause of death in the United States. It's the only sixth leading cause. Okay. Now, think about this. Of the top 10 diseases in the United States, the most deadly diseases, top 10, it is the only one that cannot be prevented, cured, or even slowed. Stop and think about that. It's the only one that cannot be.
That's devastating.
It's horrible. The one in 3 seniors dies with dementia or Alzheimer's and dementia in the United States. 1 in 3 seniors. Wow. There are 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's disease right now. In 2050, it's estimated to be between anywhere between 14 and 16 million. So 5 million today. 2050, 14 to 16 million.
Over 300% increase.
It's mind-boggling, and you look at it and say, I'm not sure how. And
the mind is boggling.
Yeah, the mind is boggling, and it's a financial element too. So obviously, these are people we've got to care for, and it's really difficult there. But also, just looking at it in a dollars and cents nature, if we don't find some way to help this environment, it's going to bankrupt this medical system. Worse than we're already kind of in a position now. So now we've got this tough position. We've talked about it in the past, this medical system we have. Well, add in the fact that you've got this influx of care that's going to affect families. We've got to do something. And the answer is, really, the ultimate answer is finding a cure. We're not going to do this to find the cure. But if we can start biting at this, given the fact that there's this many people coming in, we've got to do something about it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise awareness, funds, support for the people that are out there doing these things, and that's what we're here locally trying to do. And I would just encourage anyone that while this is a staggeringly difficult thing to kind of get your mind around and to say, what are we going to do, is instead of just feeling hopeless, let's get out there and do it. Let's go do something. Call us, and we'll find some way that you can help in volunteer, in fundraising, whatever you're good at. We'll find a way to get you going, and we're talking about here locally in Santa Clarita. There's businesses and individuals that are a part of these committees. They're giving their time away from their businesses, right? So that's their money. And their families to come and sit in meetings and go out there and push and hard and do all this stuff. There's new support groups going in several places. Give us a call. We'll kind of point you in those directions. And how about this? How about starting a support group? Let's be part of the answer. Call me up and say, hey, I want to be trained to do a support group. I want to be trained to help, give a presentation on this or to help educate somebody about what's going on and to help people. I want to be involved in fundraising so that we can find some, a lot of what I'm part of is do it. We can complain all we want, but.
Well, the other thing too that I've been thinking about, because I think to myself when I forget something and I'm thinking, you didn't write it down, Barbara, and you forgot it. And then I'm thinking, well, you are getting older and maybe that's an excuse. But it would seem to me that there are several elements that could possibly contribute to someone developing Alzheimer's I'm sure genetics play a big part.
Right.
There is a genetic component, especially in early stage Alzheimer's or early onset Alzheimer's. But to be honest, it's not like some of these other diseases where there's this sort of cause and effect. Genetic, have this gene, you're going to develop this, or don't have this gene and you won't. There is not that. And it's only an increase of odds and percentages. But unfortunately, it would almost be nice to be able to say that, because then they can kind of zero in, right?
That's right.
But at this point, there isn't.
No, it isn't. And I would think that being around people or isolating oneself would definitely contribute to this.
Dr. Dorio will probably agree with this. The mind is an organ that needs to be exercised just like every other muscle and piece of organ in your right.
Not only mind exercise, but physical exercise.
Because it's part of it, right?
Absolutely.
So it's all about, I always say, look, I'm waiting for the day when they tell me that, to help prevent whatever disease, horrible thing it is, that, you need to have more pizza and drink more beer. And it just never really happens. Or you need to sit on the couch and be a couch potato more. I'm waiting for that, but they just haven't said that. It really is very common sense. Alzheimer's isn't different than many others. You need to be actively exercising your brain, your mind. You need to be healthy in all other aspects, because that's all part and parcel.
Yeah, it is. It's the whole body involvement, physical exercise, mental exercise, being around people.
Yes.
Eating nutritiously.
There is
they're all key components.
Absolutely the message that we've got to get out there, that these are some of the things that you can do. There's no miracle pill that you can take, but what you can do is keep the rest of yourself healthy, including make sure you consider your mind. One of the things that, both in terms of, I'm not going to call it prevention, because again, there's nothing to prevent, but that can reduce the odds, that can allow your mind to be able to operate in a way so your quality of life is there, and that you can do this exercising, is through programs or activities that do that. I mean, play chess, play a game, something that's mentally crossword. We have a client right now that she does Scrabble. I mean, great stuff. She's really good. Just kills everybody. It's great stuff to do. And one of the things that both in terms of our business, but also in terms of the Alzheimer's Association, they have programs that are designed around that, memories in the making and memory mornings, etc. And again, these are things that people here can do to help. Call us. We'll put something like this together that will help actively engage and stimulate people so that they're mentally and cognitively active and functioning.
Okay, now, are you involved in any of these senior apartment complexes where they have groups, where they have many, many seniors? Are you involved in that type of area?
The answer is yes. Like we do presentations at Friendly Valley and places like that. It is challenging for those places because, I mean, obviously they're a residence. They're not designed as a cognitive care other than an assisted living facility, which really does kind of focus on these kinds of programs.
Right.
But the retirement communities, both single family or any, absolutely, those are the kinds of places that, give us a call. We'll come in and talk about what the Alzheimer's Association can do with these programs we were talking about, support groups. We just have a new one at Friendly Valley starting a support group through the Alzheimer's Association. There's one up in Oakmont. We're trying to do several more that are, because people don't want to drive, right, to go to these things. They want to, I'd like to walk to get these things, right? So we're trying to get them in other places. It's hard. So the answer is, and if anybody is in these places, give us a call, say what you want. We'll come there, and education about and awareness about these kinds of things is exactly what we want to do. And our committee, again, all volunteers, nobody's being paid for this, that are locally here. There's 50 businesses and people that are involved in these committees. That's what they want to do. It's about putting up the education, the things we just talked about, but in more depth. Maybe it's art therapy, maybe it's music, maybe it's, something that they did like a game or something that they really were good at, somebody was really good at. And whether they're at any stage of the disease, that kind of active cognitive stimulation can be helpful. It's just like, at any age you are, getting out and walking and exercising, right, is good.
Absolutely.
There's no too late to start that process of eating right and being active and healthy. Same thing mentally and cognitively. There's no time that is too late. Start today.
That's right. I agree with you. And the other thing, too, another element that is helpful is a pet, a cat or a dog or even a bird.
Absolutely. Well, think about it as you're engaging, right? You're actively stimulating. So anything, and if somebody has an affinity towards pets, I'm a dog lover, that would be me, right? That would be the guy. Now, on the other hand, cats would probably make me agitated and get me out of the room. Sorry, but, for the cat lovers out there, but that's just me. But you're right. I could picture myself, right? And there are so many things where people bring pets into scenarios where people are at maybe later stages of this disease where they, brighten up and lighten up when they see a pet or an animal or something like that. And the idea is there's no magic thing. It's more about individually what people respond to and what they mentally and cognitively respond to, and absolutely do it. That's part of the game here, and that's part of the answer.
Well, it's interesting. My day begins, of course, in bed with my cat walking around on top of my head, and she'll go, meow, 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 and then she'll pat my face. And I'm thinking, I've thought so many times, what an incredible way to be awakened. I mean, that little creature depends so much on me, and she's letting me know, come on, Mom, get up, feed me, I'm hungry.
And you have purpose because of that.
Absolutely.
You have responsibility because of that. When we're younger, we have children and we have that responsibility. So our brain is constantly churning. But yes, we don't have a cure for Alzheimer's, and when you start to get it, it becomes a problem because it advances. And whether you can prevent it or not is a whole different ballgame. But we're talking about lifestyle changes for our seniors. And for me as a medical doctor, I'm saying lifestyle includes being aware of what your blood pressure is, being aware of what your cholesterol is, being aware that your kidneys are okay and that you don't have vascular disease like carotid disease. These are all the things, as well as doing crosswords, doing exercise and things like that. I think they all can play a role in maybe diminishing the chance that you're going to get Alzheimer's. And that's why I say, look at your lifestyle. Look at the way you approach your medical and healthcare needs. And when you do that, you might find something that later down the line, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, that people will say to help prevent Alzheimer's, do these things. And if you're already doing them, which I think the things we've talked about will likely be included in that, I think that, initiate it now. Don't wait till next week or when with someone bringing it to you on a plate. Go out and take that extra step and say, I do have to do this. And Barb, you have your cat, and my mom has her garden. People have purpose, and that's important that is maintained. But you have to launch yourself up off that couch. And we like all of our listeners listening to us, but after this show, we want you out there. We want you running and exercising and doing the crosswords. Send
Mental
those
and
crosswords
physical.
to us to show us that you're doing
That you did, yeah. Prove it to us. That is the message we want to get out. We need help getting it out. We need people to listen and to hear it, your audience and so on, to listen, to hear it, and then let's all engage and let's kind of together do that so that we can get that message out, get the information out. And that's some of the stuff that we're trying to do, as well as the fundraising and so on, to finding a cure.
Well, after the break, we'll zero in a little bit more on these fundraising activities, okay? I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with Rick Ferranti, and he's intimately involved in working with Alzheimer's groups putting on fundraisers, etc. And before we get there, I wanted to let you know that I'm going back for my 62nd high school reunion in May, and we just found out that one of our classmates died of Alzheimer's, and one of them that I knew quite well. And even though I haven't been back there, that many times, but we've tried to have a 5-year reunion. And a couple of years ago, we had our 60th, and we all decided, wait a minute, in another 5 years, none of us might not be here. So we decided we'd do it every 2 years, and now we're calling this our 80th, because most of us will be 80 this year. So it's our 80th high school reunion.
That's funny. I'm going to go to my high school reunion also, but it's just of my football team.
Oh, just
and it's our football team gets together once a year for our 47th.
Oh,
meeting.
Terrific.
Very good.
Playing together, yeah.
It is hard to find somebody that's not touched by Alzheimer's through family, friends, somebody else. It is getting almost impossible to find somebody that's not somehow right touched by it.
Yeah.
So we're our message here, as I kind of said at the beginning, is this is a devastating disease. This is a disease that people need to be educated and understand about, but it's also something that we need to find ways to not just talk about, but to actually do something.
Do something about it.
And do something about it locally. Yes. And as groups of people, we can, better serve community that are people that are affected by this. And so we have, like I said at the beginning, basically it's two groups, really. It's what we call the Alzheimer's Awareness Project, SCV Alzheimer's Awareness Project. And that's constantly that deals with support groups, programs, events, advocacy, etc.
Ongoing.
Yes. So this is 100% ongoing. So we, meet once a month. We have subcommittees, etc. All kind of your natural things, and we would absolutely invite anyone out there at any level, whatever skills or connections that you have. We can find a good place for that will help us be most effective in the community to help support people, educate, etc. And that is, you just call us and we'll find a spot for you. We'll, greedily accept whatever you can help with. And then the fundraising part of this is the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and that is on October 8th at Bridgeport Park. The registration starts at 7 a.m. and the walk then begins. We haven't actually finalized the schedule, but it'll be in the morning, and then it'll end there at around lunchtime. So it's a morning event, and it's a walk over there at Bridgeport Park. We were looking for team captains, and then they drive donations and so on. It's all website driven, very slick. It's easy to kind of get in all this, and then we have events and so on for the teams to kind of build motivation for that. So I'm looking for people to help put that on, to find sponsors, to find vendors, to find people that want to be involved and engaged and be part of the answer here.
Now, how can one get in touch with you, Rick?
Okay, the just our 800 number, which is 800-808-4777. 800-808-4777. And that's our number, and just say, I'm interested in getting involved, at whatever level, and with the Alzheimer's Association, and helping to either, do the walk or some other level. The Alzheimer's Association itself has a website at alz.org. alz.org. They also have a hotline of 800-272-3900. Now, that hotline is kind of a little more general, and it's not locally specific in terms of Santa Clarita, but you can certainly give us a call, and then go to our website, and you can have our contact information, which is homecaresantaclarita.com.
Well, good luck with this, Rick. I mean, it's quite challenging for any community, let alone our community. But it's great to have you here, letting people know. And we're 5 months away or so from that event, but you have to start early, and you have to get the people in place. And if our listeners are out there and they say, yes, I want to do that, they can call you at 1-800-808-4777.
That's it.
Step up to the plate, everybody. Let's get you out there and help maybe yourself and others.
Right,
get
absolutely.
you going.
Appreciate you having me on and helping with that, and I look forward to later on giving you updates on our progress.
Appreciate it.
That's
Thank you, Rick.
terrific.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks for having me.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and SCV in-home care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.